up, YouTube? My name is David. Welcome to our very first episode of Velocity Road. Today we are here with our friend Nate and his 2008 BMW M6.
This is the 2008 BMW M6. Like you said, it's the E63 M6 with the S85 V10 engine. It's a lot of fun as far as BMWs go. This is the last year that they did a V10.
I myself had a BMW 328xi, and I never had an M6 something like this nice, but it was the same color, so it's kind of emotional a little bit for me because mine was a coupe, two-door, all blacked out, just like yours, but mine was a 328. So in a way, I'm a little bit jealous because this is an M6, and I wish I had an M6. But tell me, why would somebody like me in the market for a new car would buy a 2008 BMW M6 as opposed to why I should not buy it? Is there reasons? Can you give me a couple of reasons why I would buy it or would not buy it?
Well, if you would buy it, just plan on having deep pockets because the maintenance on these are very expensive.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's as far as a main reason you'd buy it, if you really wanted something that was raw. So like the transmission that's in these cars, I mean, it's a SMG transmission. So an SMG Gen 2, it's their second generation. It's not the best as far as like transmission goes. It's nothing like a DCT on like the E90.
Gotcha.
But these are a lot of fun. They're very raw. So like the shifts, I mean, they kick you in the back. So every time you're wrapping out to 8,200 RPM before you shift, I mean, you really feel it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a blast to drive. And I love hearing the naturally aspirated V10 just scream. That was a big thing for me in buying it.
Yeah, and why would, other than the heavy maintenance, is there any other reasons? Are there any problems known to these cars that maybe somebody like me that don't have one, or maybe looking to buy one, should be looking into?
Oh, absolutely. The first thing that you should do as far as making sure, if you were to buy one or if you were in the market to buy one of these, is making sure that the rod bearings were done. So that the rod bearings, they need to be done in this car by no later than, the very latest they say they should go is about 100,000. I did mine at about 88,000.
How many miles you got on there right now?
We're right at 101.
101.
So a little over
Is that a lot of
101.
miles for an M6 or?
Well, I mean, it depends. There are some that are really, I mean, they're clapped out. They were pretty torn up, but you see them up to like 170. I had a buddy who had one that was it was the convertible version of this, same exact car though, but his was it had 175, I think, and it was still running pretty good.
But once you've done the appropriate changes that you need to do or the new parts that you need to replace, is it giving you any issues at all?
Not one.
Okay.
I
Have
mean,
you put a lot of money into this car? I kind of heard prior to recording this video, we've learned that you've got, how much money you got into this car?
So without price of purchase, probably close to 20. With price of purchase, I'm up to 40.
$40,000. That includes the car and the new parts that you've put in. So you've put in almost twice as much as it was worth.
Yeah, for sure.
That's insane. What's all you've done to it?
So for me, most of the work that's been, or most of the money that's been put in this car is preventative maintenance. I wanted to make sure that I could drive this car.
That's a smart thing to do because you don't want to have to spend thousands of dollars later
on.
when it breaks down. Yeah.
Yep, and it's better to spend the money before it becomes a real problem than later, and then you're spending twice as much.
Yeah.
But for me, right when I got it, I drove it for about 3,000 miles. And then I had to do the rod bearings. So the rod bearings was the first thing that I did. The previous owner who I bought it from, he's like, oh, you don't need to do rod bearings. They've already been done.
Lies.
Had no paperwork.
Completely
There's no paperwork, and I took his word for it, but I knew in the back of my head, I was like, I'm gonna have to do them. So I planned on it when I bought it. But yeah, rod bearings was the big main expense, and then I had to replace the clutch. Clutch was slipping, had some issues there, and got that replaced, and then it drove just fine. I mean, after that, it's just been oil change every probably 6,000 miles I've been doing.
Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything outside that you've replaced? What kind of upgrades have you made to this car?
Okay, so as far as exterior goes, I got new front kidney grills. I really wanted to do ones that had the coloring. This is the updated style with the two versus the single slots in those. Yeah. The big thing for that is just because a lot of people, when they see this car, I mean, there aren't very many of the M6s, so everyone thinks it's a 645. Other than that, I did some updated side badging because they were starting to look pretty faded, and they were the chrome ones, so I wanted it blacked out.
It came with chromes.
So I bought.
It came painted black.
Yes, it came with these stripes and the blacked out. It all came like that, and that was what I wanted to do to kind of make it a more uniform blacked out. With the only color that you really see are the stripes. Gotcha. So you see the colors there, and then the back badge as well. I did blacked out with those same colors.
Gives it a nice little accent there.
Yes, yes. And as far as the wheels go, I just got these wheels painted, and I like the look of the stock wheels. So I didn't want to go buy, you know, another set of wheels, especially after I just got new Continental DWS 06's tires put on all the way around. So but I didn't like the look of they were matte black when I got them. And this car had
these ones. This is the wheels
these were matte black, and the whole theme of the previous owner did was matte black on this. So he had the like a matte black carbon fiber on the mirrors, and then he had a wrap on the roof that was matte black as well. Well, matte carbon. Yeah. And then these were matte black as well. So I like the gloss finish. I mean, I love the look of the gloss. It looks. Personally, I think it looked a lot better. So I got these painted gloss black with a gold flake in them. So they have a little bit of a gold flake to just give it.
You can see it when the sun hits it.
Right. Yeah. It was nice. I really like the work that got done on that as well. I really wanted to do a rear diffuser as well. The only issue with that is with this, I have a full Eisman catback exhaust. Those tips
How much does that run you?
So I think they're about $3,000,
nice.
$3,000 or $4,000. And as far as the exhaust goes, these are way bigger than stock. So all of the rear diffusers that go around it, they don't fit. This is all stock. So the bumper's stock, this is all stock. This is how it comes from the factory. The only thing that I really added was these side skirts, and then of course the exhaust itself.
Right.
And then of course, like I was talking about earlier, blacked out the M6 badge with just the color of the stripe on there. So
give that little
just that
uniform,
uniform,
the back, sides, and front.
And then of course, you know, the BMW logos, those are blacked out as well.
Absolutely.
Looks just kind of give it more of that same uniform look. But
tell me more about the roof right here of your car.
Yeah, so the big thing about the roof, when I bought the car, it had, like I was talking about earlier, it has that wrap. It had a matte carbon wrap. And I remember talking to the guy, I was like, oh, so is it real carbon fiber underneath? He's like, oh yeah, it is. I was a little skeptical about it. I was like, man, there's no way to know for sure. Yeah, especially after, you know, rod bearings not having paperwork. I was like, I really hope it is. I did a lot of research, and yeah, they all are carbon fiber from the factory if it's not the convertible. Gotcha. So I think it's actually more of a carbon Kevlar than a carbon fiber, just because the color of it has a little bit of a green tint.
I see that, yeah.
But after I took the wrap off, when I decided I didn't want to do the matte look, I wanted a gloss look, it was rough underneath. I mean, I pulled up that wrap and I was looking at it. It had fade marks everywhere. It looked pretty rough, and I was like, man, I love the look of this. The carbon Kevlar looked so good. And I watched a lot of videos on how they made them, and it's crazy, the machine they had in Germany making these roofs.
So what did you do? Did you polish it up a little bit, or?
I spent another almost close to $1,000 getting the whole thing re-clear coated and polished up.
Holy crap.
So yeah, I had a buddy of mine do it, and he did a phenomenal job.
You really love this car, don't you?
Oh, I love it. Yes, yes. So I plan on keeping this car for a while. I don't really want to sell it. But yes, with the whole clear coat on top of it, it added so much depth. Like, I had pictures before and after of what it looked like, and I couldn't believe the depth that it added. Yeah. I mean, it just shines in the sun. So I do really love the look of that gloss carbon Kevlar. So
all right, what do you got under the hood? Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So under the hood, it's that S85 V10 that I was talking about. Yeah, so this is the S85 V10 from BMW. It is a 5-liter V10, so pistons are tiny in here. Because you know the new Mustangs, they're 5-liter V8s.
Right.
Yeah, this is just a 5-liter
Is
V10.
BMW still making V10s, or
No.
or these M6s were the last ones?
No, this were the last ones that they did. They went with this type of power plant. They did the for the E92s. They did this same exact engine with the 2 front cylinders cut off.
Gotcha.
So it's the S65 V8, and those are some pretty cool engines as well. I do really like those. But as far as the naturally aspirated V10, this is the last of the V10s.
Gotcha. So in a way, it's somewhat special, huh?
Yes, because I mean the newer M6s, they all come with a 4.4 liter twin turbo V8. So if we're talking raw power,
Right.
I mean you can't compete. It's forced induction. So
Absolutely.
BMW realized that, and they're like, well, we'll get away from this naturally aspirated. But yeah, this makes 505 horsepower and about 380 foot-pounds of torque. So.
Have you done any aftermarket work to the motor itself?
Well, the big thing, there was a lot of things I wanted to do to it, but I had to refrain because of a couple of reasons. I mean, I wanted to do a lot of different stuff to it, but at the end of the day, the more strain on the engine, more money I'm going to put into it later on. And I had all these plans, and I decided, you know what? Let's bulletproof this car so I don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely.
So all the money that I put into the rod bearings, the clutch, everything else, the throttle body actuators, all of it, I decided to do that, the preventative maintenance, versus throwing a Pro Charger they have for these cars, or, you know, even doing small stuff like cold air intakes, all that stuff I wanted to do, but it's just not worth it. Like, I'm really happy.
So you're doing it the smart way. You're putting money where it matters rather than where it looks good.
Correct.
That's good.
So I could have done all these extra mods on the car, but I didn't want to. I wanted to make it bulletproof so that I could have this car for a while and make it last. And the big thing for me is, when I got the car, it was tuned on 93. They had it was just a clamp-in tuner, and I guess he said it gave it more power. That was the first thing I took off.
Took it off.
I was like, oh, nope. Plus, it was an Oklahoma car, so they have 93 more readily available there. We don't.
How much power is more power, according to him?
I want to say he said it added like another 50-ish horsepower,
Okay.
which, I mean, that's not enough for me to make it the
A
decision
deal
to
breaker,
find
yeah.
93 gas here. So, but I'm really happy with the power that it has. I mean, it doesn't have the low end torque, which that comes with a high revving naturally aspirated V10. But
what does the future looks like for this engine?
well, for this engine, I want to, if I'm going to do something to it, I want to do cold air intake. But those aren't cheap. I mean, the cold air intake, since there's 2 of them, I think they run about $1,200
each.
No,
or
total.
both?
$1,200
Yeah.
for both, depending on which one. If I do the Venturi ones that come all the way to the front, those are about $1,000 a piece.
Yeah.
And they're carbon fiber. They wrap around. They look sick. I mean, they look beautiful, but
That's on the long list.
yeah, that's
well,
on
Christmas is coming up, so maybe
right. Yeah,
maybe
I'll tell my
Santa will come
fiance. I'm
around.
like, look, I'm a size Venturi cold air intake. So.
Yeah.
Window sticker of this car in 2008 was $112,670. 5-liter 40 valve.
That's the original price?
Yeah, that's the original window sticker for. That's 17 mpg. I don't know about that.
They're lying to you, huh?
Oh, for sure.
How many miles per gallon do you think you get?
Well, let's look at the average. It is 13.2 right now.
Oh,
so.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, it's a miles per gallon vehicle.
Right.
It's not a miles per gallon.
Yeah. Well, Nate, thank you for sharing your car with us today, and thank you for your time. Absolutely. I think you're absolutely insane for putting so much money into this car. Maybe I'm just too cheap to even think about spending that much money, $20,000, over $20,000, into some preventive maintenance into the vehicle. But at the same time, I think that's the smart way to do it, because you want to spend the money up front and not more money in the long run to fix it, and your value goes down. And I think your car looks great, so we certainly appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right, guys, thanks for watching. Again, this is our very first episode of Velocity Road. If you like what you saw today, please like and subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that way you can get notified for our next video. Thanks for watching.